Welcome to the Joe Cohen Show. Join me as I share my experience with biohacking and invite top health experts to explore the latest technology, supplements, research, and resources for optimizing your body and brain. Hey everyone, I'm here with Joline Schaaphok. She is a SelfDecode user, a SelfDecode Pro actually, and she has clients. She's a health coach with genetics. What we're going to be doing today is talking about her genetics, actually. I do genetics in my own unique way. Everybody does it in their own way. And we thought it could be interesting for me to go through her results publicly and see what I make of her results and what she should do based on that. And hopefully everyone can learn stuff, including myself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Joline.
Hi, first of all, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm really excited to learn a little bit more and get the demonstration. I started off as a integrative nutrition health coach, and then I trained with SelfDecode and became a precision health coach. And I also do fitness training. So I am definitely in the world of wellness. I've been training, I think, in health and wellness for about 20 years. I started way back in the day when I was very sick. So I learned through nutrition how to feel better. And so I've just been continually looking and studying, researching, and then I found SelfDecode, and I was so excited to be able to test, not guess, and get into the nitty-gritty of personalization, setting things up so it works for the individual. So I don't want to tell people what I'm doing or what works for me. I want to know what works for the person themselves, because everybody's so different. And that's where I'm at now, as far as like in the training, I'm learning how to personalize the nutrition to each individual.
Okay, interesting. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so now we're going to go through Joline's results. And SelfDecode has a ton of information. I think this podcast or webinar can be good for people who are practitioners or people who are general health people or biohackers or any user of SelfDecode. I'm going to show you how I would go through this with somebody else. And I'll go through all the features as well as all the reports. And yeah, there's a lot to go through, but we're going to try to get through as much as we can in the beginning. So we're on the dashboard here. This is the practitioner account. So it has a few extra features like my clients, professional tools, but essentially it has all the main features that regular accounts have, plus a few extra ones like charting. What I like to do is it says start here, and the reason to start here because we think these are the most applicable reports. So we're going to go to the health overview report, and we're going to go through, basically you could see what is the weakest points compared to the strongest points. So I didn't see anything particularly weak here genetically. Now, there could be things that are not good, but I don't see anything particularly weak genetically here. And this also actually includes lifestyle as well. So actually the DNA has some weaknesses, as you could see, but you have a very good lifestyle and your labs are pretty good. So that's balancing out. That's why there's no significant problems with any of these systems. This is going to go through the macronutrient recommendations, and this is mainly going to be for if you want to lose weight or, it's mainly for weight loss and like blood sugar control. So it says 25% dietary fat, 30% dietary protein, and 45% carbohydrates. So that's 129 grams per day minimum of protein. And and again, you could change this based on whatever, if you feel like you do better with something, but this is where you are genetically. Key vitamins your body needs more of, B6. Now, I would get this tested potentially. This is something you should have on the radar. It doesn't mean you're going to be deficient in it. It just means you might want to get it tested. Do you have any experience taking B6?
Yes.
Okay. And do you feel like you need it, or?
I feel like I took it while I was pregnant because it was prescribed to me, but I haven't after that. So I'm not sure.
Got it. Okay.
It was definitely helpful during pregnancy though.
Got it. So key minerals your body may need based on your DNA results: selenium, calcium, and iodine. Sensitivities. You have an increased likelihood of developing food allergies, salt sensitivity, egg allergies, oxalate sensitivity, and dairy sensitivity. Do you have any of these sensitivities?
Yeah. Gluten.
Which ones?
I'm allergic to casein,
Okay.
sensitive to dairy all around. in addition to the
Okay, so that's
casein.
casein. Yeah.
And then,
Egg allergies.
so it has come up on an IgG test as a minor sensitivity, but I eat eggs every day.
Okay.
I don't get a reaction noticeably from them, so I'm
Okay.
hoping that it's okay, but I'm not exactly sure.
Have you done an IgE test? And it came out as nothing. Okay. Sometimes I didn't have anything come up for eggs, but I used to be allergic to eggs. You could have done things that make you not allergic anymore. But yeah. Okay. Next up, what about oxalates? So this is more related to like kidney stones and stuff. I don't know if you might notice that. You ever had
Lectins,
kidney
I
stones?
have super sensitive to lectins, not so much oxalates that I've noticed, but I definitely cannot tolerate lectins.
Okay, so we're going to continue going through this health overview report. Your DNA risk, food allergies, cognitive decline, fatty liver, chronic pain, artery hardening. So this is a significant one. Flu, blood clotting. Okay, these are things that, so I think this is often a good report to go through with people, or people can look at this. It says which assessments you should take next. It shows what your lifestyle risks, chronic sinusitis, eczema, hypothyroidism, anxiety. And basically, this is just showing you where to go next. I like to use the platform more because it's more dynamic, but this is where I would look first, essentially. Do you ever have brain fog?
Yes.
Okay. You also have a higher risk for food sensitivities, which is different than food allergies. You have a increased risk for both of them. Dairy sensitivity, brain fog. You ever get acne?
Yes. Especially if I eat lectins, strangely.
Oh, interesting. Okay. How's your PMS?
It's annoying, but I've seen people who had it worse. So it's not crazy painful, but I do get a lot of irritation, discomfort, and mood swings.
What about sinus congestion?
Pretty
You
much
get
my
that.
entire life.
Okay. So
Not so much
you have,
now, but it is
Yeah.
something that I am predisposed to, like if I'm not careful.
Do you ever get low blood pressure? You do. Interesting. So
Yeah,
in your
it's
case,
mostly low.
okay, interesting. So in your case, you have these. You have these as so sometimes you could have something. Actually, so sometimes you could have a genetic risk and then not have it because there's a lot of environmental factors, and sometimes you could have something that is not a genetic risk because there's also a lot of environmental factors. It's often hard you could see what is more genetic and what's more environmental. That means, for example, if you're exposed to mold, for example, it could be you get certain health problems. They don't necessarily mean they're genetic. It could be just you got an infection or something happened that was not genetic, but it triggered some kind of issue. You might have high cholesterol from eating saturated fat, a lot of saturated fat, but you might not have it when you don't eat high saturated fat diet. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. That's my example. I actually don't have high risk for cholesterol, but it only goes up when I eat saturated fat. I eat a normal diet, it doesn't go up. Only if I eat a low carb diet.
Same.
That's why, yeah. So there you go. That's the understanding why these are things that you actually picked, and some of them you might have had like your whole life, and maybe in different environments. Others you may have had come and go, and they're less genetic in origin, but it could have been from just maybe having inflammation or something else going on.
Okay.
So it's important to know what's got a strong genetic basis and what's just you have and doesn't have a strong genetic basis. The things that have a strong genetic basis typically take more work to get rid of. It's just harder to get rid of it. Like you have to do more than one thing. Whereas sometimes with something that doesn't have a genetic basis, you might just say, okay, if I'm away from mold, just as one example, it could be from anything. Actually, all my issues go away, or a lot of them. Now, again, it could be from any factor, right? Could be from stress, right? I'm not saying like it's from mold, or it could be from any number of environmental factors, not living optimally healthy or not living, just different things, but not sleeping well or having inflammation, having chronic infections. It could be anything, but it's important to understand what's what.
Okay.
So then you have your goals, supplements. So here it already gives some supplements. This report is meant for regular people, not biohackers. And so it's pretty streamlined, but I actually prefer going through the recommendations engine, the platform. This is telling you what labs to check based on your DNA risks. So you could see like symptoms, conditions, goals, and DNA risks. Here's did you ever do an amino acid panel?
No, not yet.
But you could see how many things it could help you figure out based on understanding what your serum amino acids are, not organic acids, serum amino acids. So there's a lot of things that could be impacted by if you and by the way, I do this test often and it's quite helpful.
Okay.
But this doesn't pick any favorite. It just goes based on what has the most DNA risks, the most symptoms, conditions, and goals, and then it picks what is the most relevant test to take.
Oh, okay. So it even prioritizes the labs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trending topics. Okay, top popular genes. People are into MTHFR and whatnot. Okay, so this is the health overview report. I recommend this. I went through mainly so that you could go through this with clients and then give them a report that is nice and streamlined. And if they want to find out more, they can.
Yeah, that's great. So they have the basics to start with.
There's a clinical overview report if you want this to be more medical. So yeah, I'm going to look at medical reports here. All right. So I'm going to actually prefer going through the platform for a lot of this stuff because it's better instead of getting PDFs.
Mm.
But basically, reports sorted by risk. So you could see what your top risks are. You're more likely to have breast cancer. But yeah, when it comes to the cancers, there's a lot of environmental variables. So I wouldn't be too freaked out about that. More likely colorectal cancer, more likely Alzheimer's disease, deep vein thrombosis, and cataracts. Now, we are checking for a whole bunch of diseases. So having 5 is not too uncommon. It's just important to know what your top risks are. And yeah, and you'll see when we go through the recommendations what's going to help with different things. But it's just helpful to know that, okay, you're actually more likely to get Alzheimer's, even if you don't have the ApoE.
Oh.
You have a normal ApoE variant, but in the polygenic risk scoring, which is looking at many variants, you're still more likely.
Okay.
And that's actually more predictive than just ApoE, significantly more.
Okay. Because it's not just one, it's many.
Yeah, it's many variants. Now, ApoE is going to be the most significant one, but still. The thing is, okay, so when we look at longevity screener, which is we're looking at the client's lifetime risk. So actually, with the lifestyle factors, you're actually normal risk. That's why it helps. So there's a genetic risk, but then there's lifestyle factors. And when we combine it together, you actually do not get high risk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So when we combine the lifestyle factors, you only have high risk for breast cancer and colorectal cancer.
Oh, great.
And breast cancer is going to be the number one thing.
I see, because it has
your 10-year risk is also high. So it's just something that you might get some screening or something like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't freak out.
Not to stress about, but to also just make sure you're taking care of yourself properly in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you're able to check which lab markers are increasing your risk for different things. So you could see AST, your AST levels may be decreased in people with Alzheimer's disease. Interesting. Genetically higher fasting glucose is associated with an increased risk of Alzheimer's. So it's flagging all your suboptimal genes. High ApoB is causally associated with increased risk of Alzheimer's. So these are causal. AST is an association, it seems like. This is causal. HSCRP is probably going to be causal. And ALT is probably an association. Yeah, it's just an associated. So even if it's an association, you still want to be in with a good association, right? So yeah, I would say that you want to look through the labs. So it's good that you have the labs uploaded. I would get all these other labs uploaded, right? So that you could see the full picture and see what you're not in optimal. When you get all of them uploaded, then it'll just show you, here's all the optimal labs. And then you could do things for it. I do things to bring down my ApoB and fasting glucose and hemoglobin A1C.
Right. Okay.
And also CRP as well. But yeah, I would say often AST and ALT are related to protein consumption. If you eat more protein, it'll probably go up.
Even more?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or workout or exercise. Like weight training is going to increase AST and ALT.
Okay.
So when you have muscle damage, these go up. That's why a lot of bodybuilders have higher AST and ALT.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it could just, that association just could be with like exercise and stuff. Who knows? But the
Mhm.
idea is that whatever the association is, you want to be in the optimal range.
Okay.
And each one of these you could go to and get recommendations. There's its own page, or you could go through the recommendations engine. There's also other recommendations that you could include here if you want. But what I like to do is I like to go to the recommendations engine. Do you like supplements?
Yes. Love them.
Okay, so we go to supplements and oh, we already have a bunch of stuff added. So you added the top stuff here.
Yes. I've been working on building a supplement stack for myself. So I did click on a bunch of them to add them.
Okay. I would say these are all pretty good. What I like to do is I like to look at it and then I could see somebody's symptoms and conditions, either current or past. I usually tell people to do both because even if it went away, you could still it might come back sometimes. It usually never goes away completely unless you're really doing a lot of stuff for it.
Okay.
But yeah, I put you on not biohacker mode because we already have a lot of data.
Okay.
But what this does is it automatically looks at all your risks together. You have a higher risk for atherosclerosis. This is important. It looks at all your risks together and it shows everything that it helps with. It looks at your labs, and this is helping with a bunch of labs. Yeah, so you could see that maintaining vitamin D is helping with so many things here: acne, anemia, anxiety, Hashimoto's, low energy, PMS. And same thing when you go down the list, you're going to see, okay, so pretty much I like to just see, okay, here's what's going on. And the algorithm does a pretty good job. I just go down the algorithm. Ginkgo, if you're not having any cognitive issues yet, do you have any cognitive issues? It's fine. You
Only
could
when
just,
I'm tired.
okay.
Yeah.
This actually makes you more wakeful, Ginkgo.
Oh.
Yeah. American. So you added the top 18 here. Okay. Which is good. Let's see this one. Yeah, this is already, we're getting to lower things. Like it's helping with less things. And I'd probably agree that based on what you have here, I wouldn't necessarily, in terms of the risks, I wouldn't necessarily include this.
Okay.
You ever get hemorrhoids?
No.
Okay. Headaches?
Hormonal headaches around my cycle, but other than that, I don't. But
You
I
still want to
also
include
drink
it?
a lot of water.
Yeah, you still want to include it even if you don't get it very often.
Okay. Yeah, I think
And
that
you
was
could
one of
just,
my questions is like, how many things at once do you prioritize?
I like to put in as much information as I can because
Okay.
somebody like me, I never get headaches. So if you're getting headaches even once a month, it's not necessarily, it's something that you want to shift your system away from.
Okay.
And then once you put it in there, it's going to come up under symptoms and conditions, and it'll get weighted a little more too. Yeah, honestly, I'd like to look at the risks and see, okay, is there anything that you have in these risks or any kind of tendencies?
Okay.
You can look at that.
Yeah. So for sure, the headaches, chronic pain I have had, not as much anymore, but it's still a little bit.
Okay. So I'm going to add,
Tension headaches.
you have tension headaches?
That makes more sense than migraines.
Okay. And what else was there? Chronic pain.
It's specifically neck pain. I don't know if they have that in there, but
They might actually. Was that from an injury?
yes.
Let's see. We have chronic pain. I would just include this.
Okay.
Is there neck pain, shoulder and neck pain? I would include
There you go.
those. And what else?
I think
Painful
the
periods?
rest, not too much.
Okay.
It's more the headache and just having it be
Got it.
uncomfortable and irritating.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we could ginseng. I like ginseng. I take ginseng.
Yeah, I was curious about that one.
Ginger. The question is how many supplements you take. I actually take all of these.
Okay.
I don't take sage. I take garlic. I stop berberine only when I'm traveling because if I exercise, if I do weightlifting with berberine, I get muscle pain. You added these. Okay. Yeah, it seems like you know what you're doing here because you added a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see NAC. NAC is a good one. Why are you not taking that one?
I think I might have been researching it. It said something about autoimmune disease being something you want to be careful of, but I might be. No? Okay.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know why I
Ginger?
didn't add it.
Anything's here that you might have that ginger could help that you may have forgotten?
Probably fatty liver and sexual dysfunction.
Okay.
I haven't been diagnosed with fatty liver, but I do know that I have issues with the fat soluble vitamins and things like that, which means my liver is overtaxed, not working great.
Before I would do that, I would just put
Mhm.
in, I would do an ultrasound. They could tell how much fat you have in the liver. If you have
Oh,
any
okay.
fat in the liver, that's not a good sign. So then, yeah,
Okay.
like there's a normal, it shouldn't have any extra fat. Sexual, okay, we can put this in there. Anything else here?
No.
Okay. So overall, I would say probably ginger is not needed.
Okay.
Anything here in Panax ginseng?
No, I definitely want to prevent breast cancer. It
Right.
does say I have a high
But,
predisposition for flu, but I never get it.
oh, interesting. That is
Which is
interesting.
probably because I'm combating it with lifestyle choices.
Could be, definitely. Yeah. So I would say in this case, we could skip L-arginine. We could probably skip COQ10. I would take it.
Looks good.
You could take the ubiquinol. It's helping with 5 labs. It's got any of these DNA risks you got, like you experience high heart rate ever?
Sometimes, yeah. And my skin could always use help.
Okay, so I would include this. And you notice that when I add something, the notes get attached. It gives my notes. If you have clients, you can give your notes whenever you add something.
Okay.
And so there's professional tools, default recommendation notes. You could fill that out. And then anytime you add something, it automatically fills out the notes. And then when you download this action plan, it will include all the notes from what you picked. Green tea extract. What do you think about that?
I was taking it, but then when it was a little further down the priority list, I didn't add it.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary.
Because I think I was aiming for 20, 25 supplements.
All right, yeah.
To
Then
start
in that case,
with.
I think you're good now.
For some clients, I do less because they'll be
Right.
overwhelmed. But for me, I was like, yeah, I'll take a lot
No,
of
I
stuff.
think you can move this also to, you can move things around.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're moving things around in the action plan?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. You like to take supplements twice a day?
Actually, 3 times a day, but I do the majority of them breakfast and dinner, and then I have a couple that I take at bedtime.
Okay. So here's a situation. Yeah, you could just put whatever you want in the afternoon. You could move it in a few different ways. You could say remove, yeah, or you could just drag and drop essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically you could decide what you want to, we have some if you add it, we have a default, but you can just move it around.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And what else is there? Let's see. Okay, so yeah, so this is your regimen. I think this is pretty good, meaning like there you could do a lot of stuff. I would probably not take L-Casa yet.
Okay.
I would remove this from action plan. I'd probably remove this too. Why did you want to take this in particular?
Well, I actually just clicked all of the probiotics that were up at the top priority, but I haven't purchased or found those specific strains yet.
They sell a bunch of it. Yeah, they sell them isolated, but I would remove them. I think this is a good start you have going on.
Okay. And I think it lists probiotics, like a combo probiotic up there at the top somewhere.
Let's see. For the sage, you were interested in this for what mostly?
The stress and the brain fog.
Okay. It's not a bad one then.
But there's other things in the stack that help with that too. So I was like on the fence on that one.
Let's actually search sage. Okay. Yeah, I would probably take that off.
Okay.
Okay. And by the way, just see something. It's also, do you look at these red flags here, like for recommendation?
Yes.
So let's see what these are. I usually look at them too. I'm going to take off sage for now.
Okay.
Remove from action plan. The rest of them I think are pretty good. Selenium I would measure in your blood before I add it. So I'm going to remove it for now. Did you check it in your blood?
I don't think so.
So then I would remove it. This looks like a good regimen now.
Great.
Hibiscus, what are you taking? You're going to drink the tea?
Yeah.
Okay. I would then just do this throughout the day. I wouldn't put it in like a regimen.
Okay.
But the rest of this looks good. I would put dietary iron throughout the day.
Makes sense.
This one I'll put throughout the day. Yeah. We should, relaxation techniques could be wind down and limit alcohol intake. Yeah, that's more in the evening. And kava, let's see. What was the kava for?
Stress, anxiety, and overall
I would get
relaxation.
rid of it for now.
Okay.
Because it's something that it doesn't have too many other benefits, whereas there's other
True.
things with more benefits. I would say the same thing with Huhubei, even though if you still want relaxation, I think Huhubei could be good.
Mm-hmm.
I have it,
But there's
but
enough in there
yeah,
elsewhere, like ashwagandha and
correct.
things like that.
Yeah, exactly. You
I think
might.
I went a little click happy in here.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It happens to all of us. That's why you could. And by the way, it makes sense. You could do it and then look back at it. You also have lemon balm here,
I do.
which I think,
Oh.
which I think is more general. It has some more benefits. Orange blossom aromatherapy as well. Could be nice for the wind down.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is the regimen, and what I'm going to do is download your regimen.
Okay. Yeah, I've normally been using the whole week button, so I didn't even notice all of those, the way you could separate it between morning, evening, and nighttime.
Yeah, for sure. So what we're able to see here is the reason this is really cool. So now we have a whole regimen. And we're able to get this reasonably quick. And as a practitioner, you could add all your notes so that if anyone has questions, I didn't fully add all the notes. You see a lot of them have notes, but not all.
Yeah.
I should add them to all of them actually. And okay, so this has more information. And then this is actually a simplified one. You could do a detailed one. That's what I'd recommend.
Detailed.
You can give both. This is just, okay, here's what you need to do. And if you want to understand why you need to do it, it depends what your client wants. But yeah.
I like the whole week button for some use because then you can click, you have a little circle, you can check box the days too. So you see your dosage, and then you can also have it as your little check off list. So I like to include that just for that feature, but it doesn't have any notes or additional things unless you click on it.
It does have notes here, but yeah, you have to click on it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But in the PDF, there's some additional guidance showing. Okay.
Yeah, let's see what we got here. What happened to detailed PDF? Here we go. All right, so you see this is more details. It explains why you should be taking these things. It's pretty concise.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, this is just going right now, this is based on alphabetical order, the explanations. But so you can scroll to whatever recommendations you want to see, but essentially it's giving you the regimen here. You could also fill out any kind of details. But one of the things here that you see is whenever I have notes on something, which one I have notes on ashwagandha. So you can see Joe recommend. It comes up in here.
Nice.
So you can have your notes with any kind of links or it's yeah.
Okay, yeah. So brands you recommend, all that. Okay.
Any detail, anytime anyone asks me a question, I just go to the notes and fill out more information. Oh, what should I, how, I don't know, they'll ask some random question. Can be taken anytime.
So good.
Yeah, and now it's going to come up for everybody.
And then you don't have to refill it in every time. So that's nice.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very easy to just go to the recommendations, add whatever you want. You could also search for what you want. Now, something that you can do is also advanced filters. So let's say we say, what was a lab that was not, let's say we say fasting. Yeah, we could do that. We could do
fasting glucose also was not ideal.
Yeah. Oh, first of all, you could just filter based on symptoms, conditions, and goals. Let's actually do that. Apply filters. So it's looking just based on this. And you see the order changes. Like it's showing you matches for all these things. It's having a best fit for something that is normally, let's see what if we got rid of the supplement thing. This is cool to play around. A lot of people don't know about this, but yoga is going to come up as #1 for you. Look how many things it helps with.
A lot.
Do you do yoga?
I incorporate yoga in my warm-ups. I normally do pole fitness. That's my workout of choice.
You might want to do yoga.
Yeah, it would be a good addition. So
this is one thing is you could play around with that, just seeing, okay, what helps with, what's your #1 supplement is going to be ashwagandha or just the symptoms, conditions, goals. But now let's say we clear it. Lavender oil aromatherapy, we can add that. L-arginine, okay, because it helps with 4 things. But let's clear this and let's do just your non-optimal labs. Apply filters. So now what is going to be good for your non-optimal labs, black cumin seed is actually it helps with 8 labs. You see how it helps with fasting glucose,
That's
the
crazy.
thyroid antibodies, HSCRP, your LDL. Oh, you do have oh yeah, this is just a lab, right? So you're able to look at just with the labs. So it helps you. Maybe we will take ginger now because it is helping with more labs if you want to like work on your labs more.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was one of my main questions too is how do you how do you pick the priorities? Because, yeah, you could go down a rabbit hole of which symptoms, conditions, and goals are really the priority and how many priorities do you want to work on? So it looks like you can work on a lot at the same time. I was thinking maybe we need to narrow it down, but it sounds like using all of this, you don't need to narrow it down. You can just really get a large overview of a lot of things that you want to work on, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe you're working on symptoms, conditions, and goals more. You can be working on labs. I think it makes sense to first work on just everything, just
Mhm.
what's coming up first here.
Okay.
So if we look at everything, ashwagandha actually comes out at 12. If we look at what was it when we did symptoms, conditions, and goals, ashwagandha comes to number 1. And yeah, so there's other things. Probably if you take something like fish oil, it's not helping with as many things as maybe ashwagandha, but it is helping with a lot of DNA risks. And if we look at ashwagandha, less DNA risks. So it's only 5 DNA risks, but it is
Interesting.
helping with a lot more symptoms, conditions, and goals, as you can see. So that's why it's number 12, because we're also looking towards the future and we want to minimize as many DNA risks as possible.
Right.
So hence, things that are just taking care of a lot more stuff are going to come up first. And there's a reason why vitamin D, fish oil, magnesium, vitamin C, probiotics, curcumin, zinc, these often come up. People talk about them a lot because they are good for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And the top 3 for you, vitamin D is going to be 1, omega-3 is going to be 2, magnesium is going to be 3. This includes everything together. Now, again, you're going to see a lot of the top ones have my notes on there. And you can use different filters. Now, if you want to use a filter by just doing ALT, let's filter.
Interesting.
So this is, okay. So when you're doing this one, I think this is just going to be this is just things that come up for high or low ALT.
High or low.
Yeah, let me look at something. Apparently, that's what's happening there. Let me look at something that is more unidirectional, like homocysteine. Apply filter. Do you have homocysteine tested? No,
Yes.
you do.
It should be in there.
Let's look at your blood tests. Homocysteine. It's in here. It's not coming up because it's in the optimal range. That's why.
I see.
Yeah, so it's not going to come up if it's in the optimal range. Let's look at, but if we put in homocysteine, then automatically it's going to be related to that. So if we look at what are some of your labs, alkaline, interesting, alkaline phosphatase is a little low. I usually see that higher. Your red blood cell count is low. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I have a lot of numbers that are just borderline low or just
Are you anemic?
not optimal.
What is the red blood? You are, okay.
I am anemic, and I also have Hashimoto's. So I think the two kind of go hand in hand with the blood sugar.
Yeah,
Shades of 3.
that is going to be one of the most significant labs, actually. So I'm going to apply a filter just for that. And you could see things that help with that. Maintain optimal iron levels, B12, lactoferrin, probiotics, vitamin A. These things all actually help with iron.
Oh, and I see some of them I did not click yet.
Vitamin C. Yes, that's the thing is, first of all, you're going to want to maintain optimal iron levels. But you did put in
Iron.
lactoferrin. You might want to include this. Vitamin B12. You could take this in a B complex, but yeah, it might be something good for. Interesting. Let's see how vitamin A is good for anemia. Interesting. Yeah, you might want to try taking vitamin A.
Interesting.
These, I would say, are more experiments, right? Maybe like, because it is something, if you're anemic, you're going to have a lot of other problems.
Right.
And then, so a lot of things that might not even be genetic, you might have because of the anemia. That's what I'm saying as an environmental variable. It's one thing just caused a lot of other stuff. And copper could also be a cause, low copper. So it is giving you a lot of good recommendations here of how to, like vitamin C. And I just click some of the ones that you want to try first, which is going to be the top ones.
Okay.
But you should also measure your copper levels before you take it. That's something I would do.
Okay.
And you could also measure your vitamin A, but still could be interesting to take that. Vitamin B12 you should measure before taking. You don't need a lot of it, so just to be complex. So you see that there's a benefit in choosing specific filters. And then, by the way, you could look over all of your results again within the action plan and be like, okay, maybe it's too many supplements now. Let me try to limit it back down.
Yeah.
But also, you now have a better understanding of why certain things are included. And yeah, like you could filter by a very specific topic. If, for example, you're like, hey, food allergies is very important for me. These are actually really good recommendations. All these help my food allergies a lot.
Okay.
These are really good recommendations. And I would include this. Yeah, absolutely. You see, now I'm figuring out new things to include. Yep, this should be included. Absolutely. This as well. This as well. And this could be included as well. We could collagen. Yeah, why not? Because I think the food allergies are contributing to a lot of other issues.
Okay.
So I think what in your case, what's happening is there's two things that are pretty clear. The anemia plus the food allergies are going to contribute to a whole bunch of things that might not be genetic. And so you want to get rid of the biggest environmental causes, the biggest lifestyle factors, which is going to be the anemia and the food sensitivities. And that's why it's important to filter sometimes based on different stuff, which is, I'm not going through the diet and lifestyle stuff with you. That's something you could do as well. But now you have an action plan. A meal plan is cool for people to look up on their own. So it's giving you some recipes for things that, like, this is a source of B6 meal plan builder. Yeah. So it's giving you recipes based on, we see why is this being recommended. It's because it's a source of calcium and B6. So you can give a client a sample of recipes. This is something you could do with a client. And you could ask the client, what do you like? Do you like this? Do you like that? And then help them build a plan. The Decoding GPT I use if I want to try to find certain information. You could go through the different health risks if you want, but I go through them when I look at the recommendations. Yeah. And so we went through, like, this action plan. I would just send, we're going to download it again, and then I would just send it to you. I look at the longevity screener to see the top conditions with the lifestyle factors. And then, because as you saw, we had 5 things, including Alzheimer's before. Now we have mainly breast cancer that I'd be worried about, that you want to do prevention.
Okay.
So that's why we have the longevity screener. We say, okay, you can have a genetic risk, but we also want to look at lifestyle risks combined. We do have lifestyle risks in separation, but these are ones we specifically combined by we had to do studies on these specifically.
Okay.
It's not like we just added it together. We had to look at databases and find, if you add these lifestyle factors, how does the risk go down? I would then, if I had more time, I would look through your lab tests and then go through them, the ones that were concerning. I looked at the top ones. The main one is the red blood cells. The other ones I'm not too concerned about. The Hashimoto's, I think we need to get under control, but it doesn't seem like it's so bad.
No, I've been working on it for many years. I'm just trying to get it in remission. That's my goal.
The ferritin, we want to get under control. The hemoglobin, this is part of the anemia. So you have a lot of anemia markers. The urine nitrogen is also another symptom that you're not eating enough protein.
Interesting.
Yeah. So not only is your AST or ALT low, your blood urea nitrogen is low. So that these are all 3 signs that you're not eating enough protein. And also, by the way, the anemia, if you were eating enough meat, you would have enough iron probably, unless you're deficient in something else.
I feel like I eat a lot of protein, but I'm
not
a big red meat eater.
So maybe just take some red meat.
Okay.
HSCRP, we need to get this down. This is something you could click on and try to figure out on your own. If you're working with a client, you're going to have more time.
Yes.
I would do more comprehensive lab testing in general. So you have 83 markers here. I like to see 300 markers, but still pretty good. And so things that I would do is you say, what test? Let's see. What are some of the recommended tests?
Yeah.
The amino acid panel you don't have. And then I would go through these and see which ones you don't have. You could put it on biohacker mode to get more and go through them and see which ones you don't have and why you might want it. What is it related to? And then you can decide which ones you want to get. And same for a client. You're going to do this with clients as well. The way I see it is software and AI are really making things a lot easier, which is what we're trying to do here with software and AI. The thing is, you still need somebody to work with it and who understands how to use it, because a lot of people don't know how to use stuff, right? They're not, if it's just themselves, they're not going to take the time to figure things out. And they also don't have the background to be able to connect different pieces.
Right.
And so you still need to work with people on the specific protocols and maybe telling them what they need to do first. And because a lot of people don't want to start with 30 supplements, so you do less.
Right.
In this case, kidney stones. So because you have the risk of kidney stones, it's telling you beware of high dose vitamin C, which makes sense. I'm not going to go through the methylation pathway. I'm just going to look at it very briefly. It doesn't seem, so it helps if you do an amino acid profile, but it doesn't seem like you have any major issues here in the dietary folate pathway.
Yeah, this was really interesting for me because I had a naturopath diagnose me with an MTHFR gene mutation, but then once we look at everything,
you don't have an issue.
I don't.
Well, you don't even have the MTHFR.
It's so strange.
Yeah, the problem with some naturopaths is that if they're experts on MTHFR, they just diagnose everybody with it. It's just, they do it with everything. If you're a mold expert, then everybody's got mold.
Yeah.
You do not have an MTHFR
genetic. Yeah, and she said she did a genetic test.
If you want to see an MTHFR, okay, I'll show you an MTHFR genetic problem, okay? And you'll see the difference between yours and mine. And by the way, I definitely have one. Like that's definitely an issue with me. Let's see. Let me share a different screen. Yeah, and again, look, this is my result. So you see I have multiple problems in this whole pathway from tetrahydrofolate getting to 5-methylfolate. It's blocked by a bunch of different problems. One is this thing here, FD1, SHMT1, and then MTHFR itself, right?
Yeah. It just goes to show some of these other genetic tests are not correct at all.
That's correct. I have a little bit of a problem here from going from SAM to phosphatidylcholine, which is interesting. And then I have a problem here. It seems like my SAM will get shunted to SAH, acetylcysteine homocysteine. I think that stands for. This is acetylmethionine. It gets, because I have an increased gene function here, which is worse actually, because we want more SAM. Actually, I do very well with methylation supplements. So you could see my homocysteine. It's normal now, but that was because I took a lot of methyl supplements. Methionine often was low before. And yeah, I think my SAM gets shunted to SAH, and it doesn't get as much phosphatidylcholine.
Crazy.
Which I think makes sense given my experiments. I do very well with SAM. And that's probably because I'm not getting it. Like, again, now when I have enough methylation, it's less of a noticeable difference. But when I had methylation issues, definitely. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, so I would recommend going through downloading the blood report as well. So you can get recommendations there. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of
how it works.
Yeah, I would also do the DNA clinical overview report is really good. I looked at, you don't have any variants for carrier status, like you don't have any carrier status variants that we're looking at. And for pharmacogenomics, you could see which drugs you might have a problem with. But this is, again, only if you're taking drugs, right? So there's like certain antidepressants, like certain SSRIs that you should be careful about. You could read more about those. But if you are taking drugs, then I would recommend the medication check. We went through the longevity screener, medical reports. Yeah, and there's just the clinical overview report is the last one, but we don't have time to go over that. But that's a really good report. I highly recommend you look into that. We have a start here, which is health overview, clinical overview, action plan, longevity screener. I think those are the main, most important ones. Next steps are good to when you want to go deeper into stuff. And then there's also other interactive features like here. You have a lot of risks for cardiovascular disease.
Yeah, which I would have never guessed without doing this test. I would have never even looked into that.
You have a higher likelihood for atherosclerosis and some genetic issues like thrombosis there. and then higher ApoB activity. This is based on, I think this is based on the blood test, on a DNA, but you also have a high blood result for ApoB. So these are all related to cardiovascular disease as well. ApoB is high. Also, you have so the DNA this is less influenced by saturated fat, actually, the ApoB, because yours is more genetic. I have the same thing, by the way. Yeah. And then these are the lifestyle ones. I would do more assessments here to see what are your other risks here, lifestyle wise. But you could see I could see why you have higher risk. There's a lot of risks related to heart and blood vessels. Inflammation and autoimmunity is number 2. Mental health is number 3. And yeah, this one you could go more into detail about the DNA risks, like there's certain genes, and you could go more into that if you want. But yeah, there's a lot of interactive features but your lifestyle is very good and your labs are overall pretty good. That's why the health overview report didn't flag too many things. You got more DNA problems.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. And I think just counteracting those with the lifestyle and the diet and the supplements has been really helpful. But it's really nice to know things that you should be alert for and maybe test for that you wouldn't necessarily. Like I would have never looked into heart conditions, which now I'll make sure that my doctors are screening for those and that I'm taking whatever actions to prevent that, which is amazing.
And then you could take notes here so that's just a practitioner thing. I would encourage you to fill out more lifestyle assessments, right? You have 47 out of 178 filled out. And like I said, I would look at the clinical overview report after. There's a lot of stuff. Even though you've been using the platform, it's still there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So I think I'm learning, like, for clients, I think you could focus and narrow in on if they have something urgent, like something that is really affecting their lifestyle and that
Top
they're really
of mind,
and start there. And then maybe include, if you need more things, you can include more of their general health and wellness. And then as the months go on, then you could add in more and more general things.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's a process you're going to want to work through with people over time. Giving them too much information in one go usually they get overwhelmed. But yeah, just over time that you could work with them and make good progress. All right. Awesome. It's been a pleasure going through the results with you, Joline. Have a great weekend. 67% of listeners aren't subscribed to the show, so please don't forget to show your support by hitting the subscribe button now. You'll not only be supporting the show, but also investing in yourself and your health journey, all while helping to keep us ad-free.